Hey guys, so you know what? Today I'm just gonna start right into it. There is this huge temptation when you get diagnosed with something that no one understands, or you don't understand, or even are convinced that that's the accurate diagnosis, right? But there's this huge temptation when that happens to fall into depression, like I've talked about that, okay? And I'm starting to pinpoint how the depression really can come on. So one is isolation. Like, you feel so isolated because you don't know what's going to happen if you get out. You can't drive, so you can't get yourself places. You depend totally on other people. And then when you have a seizure, you're embarrassed, or you feel like you're inconveniencing them, or you feel bad for putting them through it. So you just tend to isolate yourself, or even if you're not trying to, it just happens. For someone like me who is extremely social, and I'm extremely, I'm just outgoing, like I'm extremely social. I gotta talk to people, I gotta interact with people, right? Extrovert, for sure. You take that, and also going from a busy schedule to now I'm at home and I'm trying to figure out how to do things at home and I can't drive anywhere. Like today, all I want to do is take my Bible, take some books and my laptop because I got some bills to pay and stuff. I just want to go to a coffee shop, set up, sit down for a couple hours, drink my coffee and do all this, because that always helped me to get out of the house to actually be motivated, because something about being home, you naturally want to be a little lazy, and that's okay. But you take that and go, oh, well, you can't drive. And even if I thought maybe I could drive just a little ways, then you put yourself in the spot of the embarrassment of when it happens. And I don't want someone thinking I need to go to the hospital if it happens. I don't, So that's number one that really tries to come on that can cause depression, is the isolation, the feeling of being isolated, right? Number two is, obviously, it's kind of what depression is the hopelessness. You feel hopeless because you don't see an answer in sight. You're kind of left to figure it out on your own. You don't have clear direction and guidance, even if it wasn't an answer per se, a little bit of let's go this route so we can try to get under control. There's really not any of that. So you feel a little hopeless and helpless. Like, those two paired together, I think often they are just a dangerous combo, right? So trying to not get hopeless is a difficult thing. For me, what I have to keep reminding myself is that my hope is not in me not having seizures. My hope is not in the cure-all or the finding out the trigger. I want those things so much. But my hope is not in that. My hope has to be in something greater and something more solid. My hope has to be in Jesus, right? Now, I can sit here and say that and smile for the camera, but there are days when it is just all I can do to remind myself that. Because if I don't do that, then anytime something pops up that could hold a little bit of help, or could hold a little answer, or could just be helpful in any way. Anytime something pops up like that, everything in me gets excited and goes, oh, my hope is on that. And then when it falls through, like it has been, and it does for a lot of people with PNES or seizures in general, I think, then you feel so disappointed, you feel shattered, you feel like you're back to ground zero of, we don't know what to do again. So if my hope is in that, then disappointment comes every time, which leads into the next thing for me for depression, is severe disappointment. But if my hope is in something else, if my hope is in someone who will never let me down, which we all know is not anyone on this earth, because we all let people down. It's part of life. But if my hope is in Jesus, then that will be a disappointing moment, but it's not going to be an atmosphere of disappointment. I'm not going to carry disappointment with me. It will just be a that sucks moment, and then you keep going. So right now, those are moments that keep me sane. So, but that reminds me again for depression, right? Disappointment is a big one. And I don't think it's that, oh, try to never get disappointed, because that's when you end up shutting people off and you go, I'm not going to trust people. I'm not going to let people in because everybody disappoints me anyway. I'm not going to go to church anymore because I was disappointed by this church. I'm not going to see these friends because they disappointed me with this. You know, you can't do that. You cannot shut that out, because you will live a life of disappointment and isolation. Sorry, my washer is going right now. So you can't do that. You cannot, to try to avoid disappointment, you can't isolate. That just gets you right back in the same cycle. There's the depression, there's the anxiety, right? You can't do that. A solution to disappointment is never isolation, ever. So it's not disappointment that's the problem per se, it's how we handle it and what we do with it. And I, for one, really need to work on that. But again, I'm just being real with y'all. The thing that helps me the most is to know that my strength and my hope and my faith is not in things of this world. It's not in the answers that I'm seeking medically or relationally or whatever have you. You know, my hope is in Jesus. My faith is in Him. So that's what helps me. Okay, so isolation, feeling helpless and hopeless, right? And then disappointment. Like, I feel like those are the big things right now that want to just keep coming on. And then on top of all that, what blankets all of it is this underlining feeling of guilt, which is, because this is happening, you're losing everything. Because this is happening to you, you're putting everybody else through it. Right? Like, you should be able to fix this. You should be able to control this, and you can't. Look at what it's causing on your relationships. Look at what it's causing for your job. Oh, wait, you don't have one anymore, or you can't work anymore. So that guilt just gets thick, right? And guilt will always try to tell you the things that will make you want to isolate. Or guilt will tell you things that make you disappointed in yourself. Or guilt will tell you things that make you feel stuck and hopeless and helpless. You guys see the cycle here? I know I can't just be speaking to me right now, although I am. It's such a cycle. It's such a cycle. So right now, so let me get back to this. Where I'm at right now today, I feel like all my guards have to be up. And I don't mean walls. I don't mean I'm going to isolate myself in these walls. I mean guards of, like, I have to guard my heart in a way against these things, against things that are trying to make me isolated, against things that are trying to make me feel helpless, right? Not against people. Although there might have to be some healthy boundaries and distance from some people. That's reality, okay? But right now, it's against what things are making me feel guilty. What things are making me feel helpless, right? And more than that, instead of just identifying what it is, have a game plan. Identify what can combat those things, right? So if I'm feeling isolated and I feel like I have no control of that, okay? Maybe I need to call someone, right? And if I'm feeling guilty for the fact that, oh, someone has to come pick me up, I'm going to remind myself that that person has told me many, many, many times, you have no reason to feel bad. Don't feel bad. Please call me. Please call me. Now, if I reverse it, anytime I've said that to someone, I've meant it. I'm not saying that everybody does, but I'm saying when I've reached out to people and said, no, seriously call if you need a ride, or seriously call if you need this, I actually mean it. So in a way, I got to almost take my own word and trust people there. Right? So I got to get past my own little pride there of needing help. I just have to. That's going to combat me being isolated. When I realize, okay, let's look at the big picture here. Isolation isn't going to add anything but more problems. So to combat that, I'm going to choose to reach out, especially when I'm feeling isolated. Okay? So feeling hopeless and helpless, for me, I get in the Word. I got to get in the Word. I got to open my Bible. I got to read things that completely go against helplessness and hopelessness, because that's not how we're meant to live, right? That's not how we're meant to carry. So I have to fill myself back up with positive words, with words that say there's life and life abundant. Even if we don't see it right now, you can see it in little moments. You know what I mean? You can find it. And it's like until we get to the abundant life, we think, oh, Jesus has let us down, or people have let us down because we're not living abundantly right now. Okay, yeah, I've had those moments too where I'm like, where's the abundant life? It must be coming. Okay? What if we are living the abundant life? We're waiting for the ultimate, right, when we get to go home to heaven. But what if right now is the abundant life? I don't care if you're spiritual or not. What if right now we can find abundance in anything if we train ourselves to look for it? It may not be this big grand thing that we've had in our head, but what if us finding the small things to have gratitude for, and the small things to go, wow, that's huge for my life. That's abundance right there. That makes me happy. That brings me joy. I'm blessed to have that. What if seeing those moments is what will ultimately be the steps to getting to the big dream, getting to the big abundance? Just food for thought there. I'm challenging myself here because I really think there's something to that. Finding the abundance here and now. I really believe that. So, that's what I have to do. There are some people that are in situations where they feel trapped, they feel stuck, and in a lot of ways they may be, right? And you know, people may say, well, I'm in an abused home. How can you say just find the abundance, right? I can't speak to that. I really can't. All I can say is reach out. Find somebody, reach out. You are strong enough and you can do it. Reach out. Anyway, I got on a whole rant about that. But I've got to learn ways to combat feeling these things, right? So right now, all I want to do is either get out and get coffee and do everything I need to, or I don't want to get ready. Look at me. I haven't even thought about getting ready. I need to clean up some. I need to do things that I know make me feel better, but right beforehand, you're just like, right? Some mornings are just like that, right? But those are the mornings, if you let them turn into days. They'll turn into weeks. And before you know it, you're looking at months of feeling depressed. Right? We can't do that. So what's the goal? What's the strategy? For me, I'm going to get back to me. It's time for me to go, I remind myself of who I am. I wasn't work. I wasn't being busy. Who I wasn't the fact that I stayed busy all the time, or whatever it may be. That's not who I am. Those are things I did. And right now, things that I did, I can't do. That doesn't mean I can't do who I am. Right? I really have to get this in my brain. Those are things I did, and things are different now. I may not be able to do all of those things. At some point, I think I will again. And I might be able to do some of those things if I get out of my own brain. Right? But those are all things I did, not who I was, not who I am. I am still the same person. But you know what? Maybe through it, I can actually focus on bettering who I am, becoming a better me. So right now, as of today, this is my goal. I'm changing. I'm changing my mindset from I'm getting back to who I am. I'm not going to let people tell me what I should be doing, who I should be, who people think I am, all that stuff. I'm getting back to who I am, who I know I am, who the Lord says I am. That's got to be my foundation, right? Otherwise, the depression can come in, the anxiety can come in, and then I'm just going to be exhausted trying to fight it. So step one for me, get back to that. And it's starting today. It just is, right? When everything else is stripped away, it's interesting to see what is left of your identity. That's truth right there. What is left of your identity when all of your busyness and all of your hobbies and all of your work and all of your roles get stripped away? That's not to be like, oh yeah, who are you? That's just challenging of like, do we know who we are strongly enough that we can walk anything out? I can't without Jesus. But I got to know who I am alongside with him. And that's what I'm getting back to today. And then from that, I'm getting a game plan. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to have goals. I'm going to set things for me daily. I'm going to set goals for me weekly. I'm going to set goals for me for the next month. I'm going to stop there for now until I get a little bit more. But I am starting. I got to get motivated, right? I'm not going to sit in this. I refuse to sit in this unknowing what's going on. I got to take my own health into my own hands and figure it out for the sake of me, for the sake of my family. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to get ready, and I'm going to figure out what my next plan is for today. And then I'm going to write everything else out. I know this was a whole big long venting session, But if it can help anybody or stir anybody up, or does anybody else feel like I'm feeling right now? Do you guys have days where you just are like, it's almost frustrated because you're like, no, I'm not going to let this happen. It's like this anger rising up, but it's like a righteous anger of like, I'm taking control again. I'm not going to let this shape who I am in a negative way. Anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who will ever even see this because, anyway, maybe y'all couldn't hear the whole time because my washer was going. But either way, if you see this, wherever you are, whatever spot you're in, right now I'm just saying that you're not made to carry depression. It's not something, hear me, it's not something that's your fault. It's not something that I believe, oh, well, you brought it on. That is not what I'm saying through this. I am saying from someone who has been severely depressed before. I am now recognizing what brings it on, and darn right I'm going to have a plan against it because I don't want to go back to that. So if you're in it, no, there is hope. You can get out. Just reach out. Reach out, reach out, reach out. Be strong, be brave, reach out. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I love you all. Whoever's watching, I love you.